Hey guys! All right, I hope everything is working here. We are having a little cranky internet here a few minutes ago, so hopefully this will all work. It won't boot me off or anything, I hope. I guess everyone is out there buying their Christmas presents online right now. That's my guess anyway. All right, so welcome to day 3 of the Healthy Holiday Challenge. So today, grab your workbook. I think I need to post the link for that again, just in case you guys need it. Here's your day 3 of the workbook. So it's just one page today. So the video, today's video is going to take a little bit longer. But you've got kind of like less work overall to do, so bear with me through the video because today I'm going to take you through all of the options that there are to help you brainstorm how you're going to take care of yourself this month. So we have already talked a bit about relieving some of that overall mental load, right? And then creating a bit of a rough draft yesterday using your priorities, where you went through and prioritized your brain dump from day 1. So hopefully you've already got some ideas for how you want to take care of yourself. We definitely put that into the priorities box yesterday of what you feel like you need to do to take care of yourself this month. But today I wanted to kind of dive a little deeper into that and give you as many ideas as possible for how you can really support yourself in those 4 pillars of a healthy lifestyle. And that's a lot of what my coaching is based around, is really creating a holistic, healthy lifestyle that addresses a lot more than just movement and nourishment, or diet and exercise, as kind of the health and fitness industry likes to call it. So the 4 pillars that I really focus on are movement, nourishment, rest, and stress management, because you can do everything right when it comes to doing your diet and exercise, basically. But if you're not also getting the rest that you need, and you're not also managing the stress in your life, then you're only going to get so far with your diet and exercise. Your body can only do so much when it's not getting the rest it needs, and when you're really kind of stuck in that fight or flight mode all the time. And that's what stress does to you. It sticks you in that fight or flight mode, and it makes your body shut down to a certain level so that you really can't achieve the level of health and fitness that you might want. So let's talk a bit about possible things that you can do to support your 4 pillars through this month. So like I've said before, you're not going to be able to necessarily do like a complete lifestyle transformation. You're not going to want to like go cold turkey on certain things unless you feel like that is truly necessary and that you're really up for that challenge. If you want to do that, I fully support you in whatever decision you need to make for yourself. But at the same time, if you realize that there is a lot that you want to do to enjoy the holidays, and you're just not going to have time for everything that you would love to do to start reaching your health and fitness goals, then I want you to really be okay with just doing enough for this month and really helping yourself like lay that foundation, so that in January, when hopefully, you never know, right? But hopefully things will calm down a little bit once the holidays wrap up. And then you can focus a little bit more on those health and fitness goals that you have. So here on today's paper, we've got 4 sections, which it's all blending together. These are my notes. I'm going to go over all these with you today. So you've got your 4 sections. You get your, I'm backwards. Okay, movement, your nourishment, your rest, and your stress management. So let's just start with movement. Movement is not necessarily the most important. And the great thing that you're going to notice about these is that many of these ideas actually kind of cover multiple pillars. So that's always lovely. I love when you can spend time and energy on one task and it's actually taking care of a few other things too. That's like my favorite, because we all have a lot of stuff to do and a limited time to do it, right? So you might as well try to kind of knock more things out all at once, right? Be as efficient as possible. It's been my word lately, is efficiency, not effectiveness. but efficiency. So, all right, let's talk about movement ideas really quick. So if you guys have been in here for any length of time, you know that I love movement. That's my jam. I'm a huge believer in that your body is made to move, and so you should move it as much as you can, but that does not mean that you have to do crazy workouts all the time. In fact, for me, I have found a lot of scientific literature that really supports the idea that low to moderate intensity movement done as often throughout the day as possible is actually a lot more effective, a lot healthier, and a lot more sustainable long term. So it gets you better results. You tend to enjoy it a lot more. So it means you do it a lot more, which means you get your results faster and better without injuring yourself too, which is always nice. So I know a lot of you guys, and this was myself included, are dealing with some kind of health issue, whether it's like a nagging injury or a recent injury, chronic pain, just tight spots, or any other health issues too. Like for me, I've got adrenal fatigue, which is basically managed at this point, but like that's something that I still have to be aware of. I have a genetic disorder that I have to be aware of all the time. That brings gut issues. I have to be aware of those all the time. And so you just, the low to moderate intensity is really just where it is at when you are dealing with any of those issues. Because like I was just saying, if you're always stuck in fight or flight mode, your body is not able to heal from any of these issues. It's not even able to heal from the stress that we might experience each day. It does create a type of oxidative stress. You've all heard of antioxidants. So if you want to be able to recover from any stress you experience without getting sick, without getting injured, you have to be taking care of yourself, and you have to have time that is spent not super stressed out, not in fight or flight mode. So movement that supports that goal is really, really amazing, and that's going to be any low to moderate intensity movement. I love movement breaks throughout the day, like just if you spend a lot of time sitting, you can just get up and move around. You could do, I've got a sitting break option. It's like a little workout, like 10 minutes, I think. That is amazing. It helps you kind of reverse all that posture that you get from sitting, any of those tight spots. So sitting breaks are amazing. Any chance you can get to just get up and move around is wonderful. That does count as movement. So if you wanted to set a goal of like getting up to move every hour, or say 5 times a day or something, like you can tailor all this stuff however you need. So moving as often as you can. I love like start the day with some gentle morning movement to kind of stretch out. Have your sitting breaks. Do some evening movement, like some gentle stretches to get you ready for bed. Go for walks, whether it's taking a 2-minute walk around your house every hour just to stretch yourself out, or going for a stroll when it's actually sunny and nice out, right? You can do any kind of cardio that you like. If you struggle with cardio, with it feeling like super hard, you can't breathe, anything like that, please reach out to me. This is like what I'm the best at, is helping people actually enjoy cardio and make it effective, enjoyable, and doable. So if you need help with that, just let me know, because cardio is amazing. It does so many other great things. I'll have to talk about that one another time. But yes, cardio is great. Any cardio you can do, I highly recommend trying it out. Moving every hour, like I said, go outside and play. Go enjoy all of the winter sports that you can enjoy. You know, take your kids sledding. Go have a snowball fight outside. You know, do anything that you can't normally do when it's not snowy out. So go outside and enjoy that. That is movement. That is exercise. It totally counts. Don't worry about it. Otherwise, like chopping firewood, if you have to chop firewood, if you need to shovel your driveway, rake some leaves, anything that you need to do outside is wonderful, because you're getting those benefits of like being outside plus moving your body, being in nature. It's just, it's the setup for wonderful success and health. So dance. If you like dancing, put on some Christmas music or whatever music you like and dance. That's a great idea. Go do some yoga. YouTube has a plethora of videos for like any type of movement you could want. So go do a yoga video or some other YouTube video. I have a YouTube channel and I don't share it very much, but there are some workouts up on that you guys could try out. And then, of course, there's always strength training, which again, kind of like with cardio, if you have struggled with strength training, if you don't like it, if it hurts, any issues, strength training is really critical for supporting your body and helping you recover from injury if it's done right, helping you manage any chronic tightness and chronic pain, again, if it's done right. So if you would like to incorporate strength training, because it really does, if you want to lose weight, you need strength training. You need to build up that muscle mass, not get bulky, but get muscle. So that's going to help you maintain a healthier body weight. It will help you be healthier overall. Strength training is amazing. If you need help with strength training or you want a custom strength training program, let me know. That is what I'm best at. Okay, that's movement. I could talk forever about movement. So let's move on to nourishment. So the movement and the nourishment ideas, I'm going to actually be kind of incorporating all those into that done for you movement and nourishment plan that I will be sending out on Friday. So, if you are really wanting to work on the movement and nourishment aspect of things, that's going to be a good bonus for you. So you'll just want to make sure you're on the email list for that. All right, movement done. There we go. Movement's done. All right, nourishment. So you'll notice I always like to say nourishment as opposed to diet because diet just kind of conjures up that nasty idea of restricting yourself and feeling guilty. And I love food. I think everyone should love food and everyone should be able to enjoy food. There's no good or bad food. And so just as a note, I am not a nutritionist. I'm not a registered dietitian, so I cannot prescribe food. But what I can talk about today is stuff that are just really good general guidelines that work for almost everyone. But again, if you have any specific concerns, you do want to talk with your doctor or a nutritionist, someone licensed to really help you. So I'm not giving you advice other than to say, like, these are just some good guidelines that you can consider and that you could consider talking with your doctor about. So hunger and fullness cues are probably the biggest one because we as a society tend to overstuff ourselves. We have very poor boundaries with food. So if you can just take a little time to try to reconnect with your body and start recognizing what cues your body is trying to share with you that suggest that it is getting hungry, or being able to slow down when you're eating so you can actually notice when you're getting full. So that would be a really, really awesome one to work on this month. It's just slowing down a little bit, getting a little more in tune with your body, and then recognizing your hunger and fullness cues. Also recognizing how food makes you feel. So like I said, there's no specifically good or bad foods, but everyone processes food differently. And depending on what is going on with your health, lots and lots of things can affect your gut, can affect the bacteria in your gut, which will affect how you process food. So during times of a lot of stress, you might notice you get some gut issues like stomach cramping, or where you just you feel like you're not digesting food very well, or maybe certain foods start to bother you more when you're really stressed out versus when you're not as stressed. So start just noticing how food makes you feel, whether it makes you feel bloated or bogged down, like just really heavy, whether it helps you feel energized, whether it helps you feel like you can focus. I know a lot of foods, when I first started really paying attention, I would notice that I would get really grumpy after eating certain foods, or I would get a lot of brain fog where I just could not focus after eating certain foods. So start noticing how foods make you feel. And when you do that, that makes it so much more clear for what you should be eating, because like I said, everyone processes food differently. So I like to get away from this idea of like there's this diet worked for this person and so it's going to work for you. That just is not accurate at all. It's much better to just get in tune with yourself, recognize how foods are making you feel, and then make decisions based on that. Don't even worry about what other people are saying you should and shouldn't be eating. If you know what foods are making you feel good, now you know what to eat, right? So that also helps with the food guilt aspect of things. So like for me, I love me some holiday cooking, right? And holiday baking. I love me some cookies and stuff. But I do also know that if I start eating a ton of stuff that's made out of white flour, that I am going to have major gut flare-ups. I'm going to have major breakouts, and I know I'm going to have pain flare-ups too. I'm going to start getting eczema on my face. It's terrible. And so on the one hand, I want to tell people to, yes, go enjoy those holiday cookies if you like them. But for me, it's very easy for me to say no to those because I know how they're going to affect me. So there's no guilt around that. There's no guilt around like maybe I should be eating them just to enjoy them, or I shouldn't be eating them because they're full of sugar. It's just I know how they make me feel, so I choose not to eat them. And if I choose to eat one, I choose to eat one. That's fine. So I love just getting in touch with how food makes you feel. Now, I just said there's no good or bad foods, but I will say processed foods are not the best for you. Now, everyone digests their food differently, so maybe you could eat all the processed food in the world and you would never feel icky. Maybe. I don't know. I would wonder if maybe you're just not really paying attention to how your body is processing it, but that's for you. If you choose to eat lots of processed foods, that's your choice, right? If you are wanting to work on nourishment this month, though, oh, hey guys, Facebook just showed me y'all are watching. Thank you for joining me. So, if you're wanting to work on nourishment this month, maybe making a goal to eat less processed food would be a good start, because that frees you up. You can eat all of the homemade stuff that you want. Like, it's not processed, right? So that just helps you create whatever boundaries around food that you would like for this month. So if you want to maybe make a goal of just not eating any of the processed baked goods that have come out of a box, and you would prefer to have only homemade treats this holiday season, I think that's an amazing goal to set. So work on those hunger and fullness cues. Notice how food makes you feel. Eat less processed food this month. You could notice how caffeine and alcohol make you feel. I could probably talk for a while on the effects that caffeine and alcohol can have on you. But for this month, this is a time for celebrating with family. So maybe you do want to drink a little more coffee in the morning, or maybe you want to just enjoy that glass of wine or a beer with dinner. Like, whatever you would like to do with that, I'm not here to tell you need to cut back on caffeine and alcohol unless that is your choice, okay? But one thing you could do if you want to work on nourishment is start just noticing if caffeine makes it harder for you to go to sleep at night, if alcohol makes it harder for you to get good quality sleep. Those are both things that they can do. So maybe just notice that. You could opt to replace some of the simple carbs, like the really processed grains, like breads, especially the white grains, like white flour. You could try to opt for swapping those out and replacing them with more complex carbs, like whole grain breads. Personally, I just swap all grains for root vegetables, because those are even more nutrient dense and they have better fiber in them to really help support gut health. So you could aim to eat more sweet potatoes, more beets, more carrots, more regular potatoes even, in place of some of the like white dinner rolls or something. Like, that could be just a fun swap to test out, and see how that helps you. You could make a goal to eat a little bit more healthy fats and proteins at meals or at snacks. Really, like your body just needs as much nutrient dense food as possible. So anywhere that you can make a little tweak to get more complex carbs, to get more healthy fats, to get more healthy proteins, like do it. And don't stress about how much you're eating. Don't stress, please. Oh my gosh, please don't stress about macros unless you're already like deep into knowing what macros are good for you. Just aim to get a little more nutrient dense carbs, fats, and proteins. Drink more water too. Water is the one most people seem to be walking around mildly dehydrated. So always drink more water. Caffeine does count. Alcohol does not. I'm sorry. But like coffee that counts as water intake. Teas count as water intake. The only things that don't really count are going to be alcohol and energy drinks, because the alcohol just takes a lot more water to actually pump out of your body. And the energy drinks are just kind of full of a lot of garbage that your body does not process well. But drink more water. Aim to just have one extra glass a day or something like that, whatever works for you. You could pay attention to portion sizes too. That's one I'm going to be covering in that movement and nourishment done for you plan, is portion sizes, really just getting in touch with what portion size works for you. And that kind of plays into also the hunger and fullness cues, right? Taking a little time to do some meal planning so that you have like healthy snacks on hand, so that you are not getting hangry and you have nothing planned to eat. So then that way you don't go reaching for the bag of Doritos and then eat the whole bag like this lady likes to do every once in a while. So that always happens when I have not prioritized meal planning. So take a little time to meal plan. I'll actually be posting our family's meal plan for December here in a couple days. So if you need ideas, meal planning. I love meal planning. If you need help with that, let me know. Also, simplify your cooking as much as you can. This kind of plays in with stress management too, in that make it easy on yourself. If you need to go buy like the pre-cut vegetables so that you're more likely to actually incorporate them into your meal, then go for it. Buy a bag of frozen veggies, get one of those like fruit and veggie trays that are already done for you. Get a rotisserie chicken, whatever you need to do to simplify healthy eating for yourself, go do it. It's okay. And then above all, just remember that eating is supposed to be an enjoyable experience. So if you are struggling with like what you should be eating, just stop and think about how you would like to feel when you're done eating, and then choose a meal that you believe will make you feel that in the end. A meal that you're going to enjoy because it tastes good, a meal that you will feel good about because you feel like it's got more healthy choices than a different option. And then just feel good about eating. A lot of people just don't eat enough because there's so much guilt and stuff wrapped up around that. So just maybe set a goal of just feeling good and feeling positive that you have taken a step towards nourishing yourself this month. So those are some nourishment ideas. Oh, sorry, this is a lot today, guys. Okay, all right, we'll quickly go through pillars 3 and 4, which are rest and stress management. None of these are necessarily more or less important, but yeah, just pick and choose which ones you want. As we're kind of going through the last of these, I will put a picture of this up too, so you'll have a whole list that you can pick from. But for this today, you're just going to write down which of these really sound best for you. And then you can kind of pick and choose which ones you're going to make time for this month. So this way too, if you're you need to be flexible at some point during this month, you can just take a look at this list and say, this is the one I want to do today. This is the one that feels best for me. So it's always good to have those ideas to kind of turn to. So for rest, rest is there's a lot more to it than just like get more sleep at night. And I know many of you who have struggled with like poor quality sleep and insomnia and all kinds of stuff, like it does no good to tell you to just get more sleep, right? That doesn't help. So here are some other things that you can try if you haven't tried them already to help support your sleep. Now, I will say too, working on your movement and your nourishment and your stress management, all of those will also in turn help promote better rest. So if you have, say, tried all of these things that I'm going to list for you for focusing on rest, if you've tried all of them and really haven't noticed a difference, then it's time to try the movement or the nourishment or the stress management, because if you're not sleeping well, there's obviously an imbalance somewhere within those 4 pillars. So number 1 recommendation, if you don't do it already, is creating a bedtime ritual. And there's 3 parts that you really need to have in place to make it a worthwhile bedtime ritual that's actually going to get you better quality sleep. And that's going to be take at least 30 minutes before you want to go to sleep. So plan for 30 minutes of time to just wind down and start really preparing for a calming sleep environment. So 30 minutes before bed, turn off the technology. I know it's really hard for a lot of us. I do it too sometimes, but truly the blue light and any of the other lights that are really emitted from the technology are very stimulating to your brain. And so you could be doing everything else to help calm yourself down for bed, but if you are still exposing yourself to that light from technology, and even just whatever you're doing on the technology is generally stimulating to your brain. And so that's just going to really undermine your efforts to create that calming sleep environment. So spend 30 minutes before bed creating that environment. No technology during that time. You could even turn off technology but up to 2 hours before bed to really get the most benefit. And then breathe. Breathing is really, really crucial. No one breathes very well in today's society. That's why a lot of the work I do with my clients is teaching them how to breathe again so that they can really decrease that fight or flight response, calm themselves more, manage stress better. And then breathing too is also important for your ability to exercise. So the more you can breathe before bed, the more calm you're going to be. And it doesn't have to be anything like, it doesn't have to be like inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 5. It doesn't have to be anything rigorous or strict like that. Just recognizing your body, just being in your body and then breathing, like watch the inhale come in, watch the exhale go out, let your body dictate how deeply you want to inhale and how long you want to exhale. And you'll notice once you've done like 10 to 20 breaths, you're going to notice that your breathing is getting a lot more calm, a lot deeper, a lot longer, and you're actually feeling more relaxed. So you might need to breathe throughout the day. You might need to like schedule in time to take breathing breaks to actually practice that breathing before your body actually gets the idea that this is calm time and this is time to go to bed. So that's one that's worked really well for a bunch of my clients, is taking those breathing breaks throughout the day as opposed to just doing it at bedtime. So try scheduling that in if you haven't. You can add on to that bedtime routine too if you want, like enjoy some nice herbal tea, enjoy like turning your breathing into more of a meditation. Maybe listen to a meditation. Don't watch it though, right? Because no technology. Enjoy some reading. Enjoy maybe some calming movement too. If you're doing some breathing, add in some gentle stretches too to help prepare your body for sleep and work out any tight spots. Generally, if your goal is to work on rest, if you really want to improve your rest this month, I'm going to recommend you ditch the high intensity workouts completely, because if you're struggling with rest, it's because you're spending too much time in that fight or flight mode, which means if you're going to go do an intense workout, you're basically just reinforcing being in that fight or flight mode. So if you want to work on rest, don't do high intensity workouts this month. Really focus on movement that is much more calming, that you can really breathe fully while doing. And that's it, like it doesn't get you all amped up, right? You can also, a couple other things you can do during the day. I said you can practice those breathing breaks during the day where you basically just say like 5 times a day, you just pause in the day and then take those 20 nice slow breaths to just kind of like during the day, we're up here, right? You're up here on stress levels during the day. And if you can just take a few minutes several times a day to go from up here and then like bring it down to here, it's going to make actually calming down for bed a lot easier. You can also move every hour. Or as close to every hour as possible. When you're doing more of that low to moderate intensity activity throughout the day, that's actually going to help your body regulate a lot better, and it helps remove those hormones better so that you can sleep better at night. Let's see, drinking more water and eating more veggies, like I'd said before. If you've tried all these other things for getting better rest, working on the movement and the nourishment and the stress management aspects can also play in. So the better you're nourishing your body, the more hydrated you're staying, the better you're going to sleep. And then finally, one that I love, which this plays into stress management too, is adding in some kind of purposeful stress management time in the evening, where you can go ahead and brain dump out anything that's on your mind, especially if you tend to get really worked up in the evening. You got tons of thoughts going through your head. Brain dump it all. Get it all out of your brain so that you can go to sleep. I love creating my plan for the next day. So that way you're not worried about like what you need to do still, because you're like, all right, I got my plan for tomorrow. It's done. Now I can put it there and now I can go to sleep, right? I also like reflecting on the day, because you're going to sleep better when you're in a more positive frame of mind. So reflect on the day. What went well? Like, what are you proud of for the day? And even if you can take a couple minutes and write down 5 things that you are proud of doing that day, whether you don't have to make it a gratitude thing if you don't want to, because I know some people kind of shy away from the gratitude, but make it something that you're proud of, something you accomplished, something that will make you feel good about yourself. And then I do recommend, if you can, doing some gratitude time too, what you're thankful for. But that can really help create the mindset that you need to help get better rest. So finally, that kind of like leads right into the stress management stuff. As you've seen the last few days, I'm slightly obsessed with brain dumps. So that's probably my number 1 tip if you want to work on stress management. Give yourself a little time each day to do a big old brain dump. Like, get it all out, clear it out, prioritize it, and then create a plan from that. Like, that is hands down the best strategy you could start working on. It's a great habit to start managing stress better. That makes you feel a lot more in control over what you are doing with your time, right? So start creating that habit of doing daily, weekly, and monthly planning. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just as much planning as you can do where you're actually like getting the things on your to-do list done, where you are making the time to take care of yourself. It makes you feel more in control, which takes your stress down automatically. So make some time for daily, weekly, and monthly planning. Also identify your stressors. If you start recognizing that, say social situations really stress you out, so maybe you can recognize that, and then you can set boundaries around that stressor and say, I'm only going to participate in a certain number of like big social activities. Not that we're probably doing much big social activities this month, but just an example, right? But you can set boundaries around that. You're only going to participate in a certain number. You're only going to stay for X amount of time. And when you're done with that, you're going to have time planned to decompress, right? So identify your stressors and start taking a little more control over how you engage with them, what boundaries you set around them, and then how you care for yourself after facing that stress. Start noticing too what narrative you're telling yourself. What's your story? If you're always saying, I can't do this, or I'm always doing that, like if you're just being very negative with yourself, start recognizing that and see what you can change to take a little more ownership over your self-talk and over your beliefs. because truly your beliefs are just a thought you keep thinking. So if you think that you're always stressed, like my favorite one is the saying you're always busy. You're telling yourself that you're always busy. You're basically creating the reality of always being busy and being stressed. So how can you change that? Notice too how you're coping with stress. Do you have a lot of coping mechanisms that are not very healthy, that are maybe making you feel worse in the long run? And what coping mechanisms could you practice using instead that are going to help you heal, that are going to help you increase your calm, increase your control over your stress? One that I think is super critical, especially if you spend a lot of time stressed out, is learning how to recognize that stress and then take a little step back and then pause and just breathe. Because when you get stressed or scared or any of those big negative emotions, you stop breathing. And that shuts off oxygen to your brain. So then you don't think very well and you don't come up with good solutions. And then you don't have the chance to change how you are coping with stress, because you will revert back to what you've always done. So if you get stressed, one great way to start working on stress management is to recognize the stress and then pause and just really focus on breathing so you can make a conscious decision on how you want to cope with that stress. Another idea for dealing with stress is incorporating daily walks. Or any other daily low to moderate intensity movement. That helps a lot with the breathing, with moving your body to kind of remove those stress hormones, and to just create a little more rhythm and calm. You can, again, take those breathing breaks, schedule them in during the day. So this one's going to help with all those other areas as well. Setting boundaries. So like we just talked about, setting boundaries around your stressors, around how you're going to cope with them. Also delegating things out. If you're overwhelmed, what can you have someone else do? What can you ask for help with? And what can you say no to? Saying no is always good if you're super overwhelmed. Finally, can you create any routines that will basically allow you to be on autopilot a little bit more, so there's a little less stress going on? So like creating that morning routine, creating that evening routine that we talked about, creating just a schedule. I know everyone's schedules have just gotten kind of thrown to the wind. So is there kind of a daily rhythm that you can create for yourself? So that's it. I'm going to post a picture of this so you guys can have this. There we go. I can't even see. This is backwards. Okay. So I'm going to post a picture of this so you can kind of reference it. Write down today which of these on this page, right? Write down which ones of these really speak to you the most that you might like to try this month. And this will just give you a little bit more idea on how you can take care of yourself, really support those 4 pillars this month. And then you're basically laying an incredible foundation so that you can jump off and start accomplishing like all of your other health and fitness goals in 2021 by just working on any of these. So like I said earlier, if you are struggling with any of this, if you really want to try some of these and you're just not sure how to get started, make sure you reach out to me, because we're actually going to be running the Stress-Free Lifestyle Transformation Program this month. And then I'm probably not going to be offering it again until like a couple months down the road. So if you want to get in on that and you want me to help coach you through 4 weeks of implementing some of these changes to really get you kickstarted, let me know, and we can set up a call and see if it's going to work for you, if that'll be the program that'll help you or not. So that's it for today, guys. Let me know what you come up with. I'll post a little comment thing where you can share which ones of these that you liked the most, that you're most excited to give, to try out. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for bearing with me, and I will talk to you all shortly. Bye, guys.